Welcome to Sports Live Media here on YouTube. I'm your guy, Sports Live, broadcasting live on location at the Veterans Memorial Park in Hanceville, Alabama. Today, September 16th, 2025. The live stream today is the top 25 college football picks. My perspective, Week 4 games, September 16th through 21st of 2025. In this live stream, we will look at who is in the AP poll top 25. We will look at who the matchups will be within the top 25. After this, we will look at what the pros say the point spread or margin of victory is and the over-under. The margin of victory is what the pros believe the winner will win by in points. The over-under is the total combined points in which the pros believe that both teams will score between the two of them. After this, if I agree or disagree with the pros, I will do the best I can to explain my reasoning. After this top 25 analysis, we will go into a segment called the Game of Intrigue. In this Game of Intrigue, neither team is ranked within the top 25. I look to find things relating to both schools, which can be sports related or not. After talking about how related, then we will do like with the top 25. We will look at what Vegas says is a margin of victory and what the over-under is. If I agree or disagree with them, I will do the best I can to explain my reasoning. Note, the Associated Press poll has been around the longest, so it will be used in discussion today. Yes, I am aware of other polls that are used in determining championships. However, we will be using the AP poll since that's the one that's been around the longest. Can y'all hear me out there in YouTube land? All right. Here is the AP poll top 25 for this week. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Penn State. Number 3, LSU. Number 4, Miami and Florida. Number 5, Georgia. Number 6, Oregon. Number 7, Florida State. Number 8, Texas. Number 9, Illinois. Number 10, Texas A&M. Number 11, Oklahoma. Number 12, Iowa State. Number 13, Ole Miss. Number 14, Alabama. Number 15, Tennessee. Number 16, Utah. Number 17, Texas Tech. Number 18, Georgia Tech. 19 is Indiana. Number 20 is Vanderbilt. Number 21 is Michigan. Number 22 is Auburn. Number 23 is Missouri. Number 24 is Notre Dame. Number 25 is USC. For those that's just joining me, thank you for joining me, Sports Live Media. I am broadcasting live on location at the Veterans Memorial Park in Hanceville, Alabama. And we just went over the AP poll top 25. And now let's look at the top 25 matchups for this week. You have number 17, Texas Tech versus number 16, Utah. Number 15, Tennessee versus UAB. Number 6, Oregon versus Oregon State. Number 7, Florida State versus Kent State. Number 11, Oklahoma versus number 22, Auburn. Number 13, Ole Miss versus Tulane. Number 23, Michigan versus Nebraska. Number 24, Notre Dame versus Purdue. Number 18, Georgia Tech versus Temple. Number 23, Missouri versus South Carolina. Number 4, Miami and Florida versus the University of Florida. Number 9, Illinois versus number 19, Indiana. Number 20, LSU versus Southeast Louisiana. Let's see. Number 8, Texas versus Sam Houston. Number 25, USC versus Michigan State. Howdy, Roblox guy. Appreciate it. So, anyway, thank you. I appreciate both of you for joining me today. Anyway, now let's get to the deeper part of discussion. First game we're going to look at this week is number 17, Texas Tech versus number 16, Utah. In this game, the pros favor Utah to defeat Texas Tech by 4.5 or 5 points. The over-under is 55.5 or 56. Texas Tech in their last 2 games has a common denominator of 14. That's how many points teams have scored against Texas Tech. For Texas Tech, they had above-average offense in all areas, including rushing, passing, both short and deep. Defense was average. They still have some issues in red zone protection, which still needs work. Despite this, the defense is looking a little bit better than before. Utah, on both offense and defense, on all avenues is above average. Utah has an advantage over Texas Tech. That advantage is what I like to call up-tempo chaos. They move quickly in very unpredictable ways. Just about the time one team figures out what Utah is doing, it changes. The changing pattern is irregular and hard to follow. I see this becoming the norm all season long for Utah, but especially in this game. It will be hard to keep up with Utah. For these reasons, I will agree with the pros on this one. Utah defeats Texas Tech by 5 points. I will go over the 56. Next game we're going to look at this week will be number 15, Tennessee versus UAB. Let's see. I'm doing very well. Scarlett, how are you doing today? Thank you for joining me today. In the Tennessee UAB game, on offense, UAB on offense is below average due to the fact they have issues with passing on offense. Other part of the offense looks good, but due to bad passing, due to bad passing, it will be strictly below average. Defense is also below average due to barely hanging on to help with the struggle win. Defense did poorly on red zone protection. Tennessee did well on offense for most part last week, especially since they played a powerhouse team like Georgia. Defense was below average due to high amount of points scored, but late in the game it helped to send game to overtime. Defense did well but tired out and it cost them the game. UAB is not as good though to play. UAB has a saving grace in special teams and can do some unique things. The pros favor Tennessee to win this game by 36.5 or 37 points. The over-under is 68.5 or 69. I do think Tennessee will beat UAB big. I do agree with the pros having Tennessee to win this game, but I disagree by the margin. My prediction is that Tennessee wins by 21 points. I will go under the 69. Howdy, Scarlett Tyson and Justin and anyone else who's come in. Thank you for coming in today. I do greatly appreciate that. All right, next game we're going to look at this week is Oregon, the number 6 team in the country, versus Oregon State. In this game, Oregon is favored by the pros to win over Oregon State by 34.5 or 35 points. The over-under is 56.5 or 57. Oregon State right now is in the epitome of terrible football. Oregon State offense on all fronts can't do much right. Defense is non-existent with holes everywhere, with emphasis on holes outside the pocket and in red zone protection. Terrible play like this will not bode well for Oregon State. Oregon on offense struggled early last week against Northwestern. As time went on, it got better, so I will say they barely were average in their part of the game. That will not continue. Offense normally dominates, so that part's going to return. The history between the two dates back many years, and both are out for blood. With these thoughts, I do agree with the pros on Oregon winning the game, but I do disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction is that Oregon wins the game by 19. I will go under the 57. Next game we're going to look at this week is number 7, Florida State versus Kent State. In this game, Florida State is favored by the pros to defeat Kent State by 43.5 or 44 points. The over-under is 55.5 or 56. Kent State is not doing well this football season. This game reminds me of the rival Sonic the Hedgehog as the Golden Sonic versus Dr. Robotnik. Every time Sonic goes up against Dr. Robotnik, it ends very good for Sonic and badly for Dr. Robotnik. Kent State football downright sucks, and it will continue this week versus Florida State. This year, at least early on, it seems Florida State is the real deal. Florida State recently has been stellar on all avenues of offense and defense. Florida State is and will continue running on all cylinders. Florida State is flying under the radar and are proving the critics wrong. Let's see. They go from being unranked to number 7 in the country in a few short weeks. Florida State, in this case, is Sonic the Hedgehog. Kent State is Dr. Robotnik. And with these thoughts, I will agree with the pros on this game. Florida State defeats Kent State by 44 points. I will go over the 56. All right, next game we're going to look at today will be number 11 Oklahoma versus number 22 Auburn. In this game, the pros favor Oklahoma to defeat Auburn by 6.5 or 7 points. The over-under is 49.5 or 50. Oklahoma right now has stellar offense, doing well in passing both long and short. The rush is superb, and it doesn't get better than this. The common denominator is 3 due to how many points they have allowed teams to score in 2 of the 3 games they have played so far. Defense does very good job protecting the line, red zone protection, and is in closing holes quickly. Historically, Oklahoma has been known to have good defense. This will be the first time in the history of playing each other in regular season play. The other 2 times the two played were 1972 and 2017, with Oklahoma winning both times during the Sugar Bowl, which is part of postseason play. Auburn has not really played anyone tough all year, and this will be their toughest test so far. Offense is average in all areas and a little better on the run plays. Defense is decent but easy to read. Auburn historically isn't good at red zone protection. I do think Auburn's average will not beat Oklahoma. I do agree with the pros on having Oklahoma to win, but I disagree with the margin of victory. I believe the margin of victory is slightly underdone. My prediction is that Oklahoma wins by 9 over Auburn. I will go over the 50. All right, next game we're going to look at this week is number 13 Ole Miss versus Tulane. Let's see. In this game, the pros favor Ole Miss to defeat to defeat Tulane by 11.5 or 12 points. The over/under is 60.5 or 61. Tulane, compared to Ole Miss, plays football in a weaker American Conference. Tulane has had their moments when they were a tough team to play. Maybe it will be the case within their conference. Tulane is below average on offense. They do good on short passes, but not on long pass plays. They have a hard time in their rush because of lack of attention to holes that open up. By the time they realize it being that the hole closes and it's too late to do much or anything at all. Defense is below average due to lack of red zone protection. This style of play may score some points, but not very many over Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a team that is unpredictable and mostly not in good ways. Luck has been their friend with how successful their risk-taking has been. Ole Miss goes full throttle for 3 quarters and then coasts in the 4th. This style may work or might not. It seems likely this will continue for this game. Tulane has a saving grace with special teams kicking long field goals, long punts, or good yards on kickoff returns. I think Ole Miss wins this game as the pros predict, but I disagree with the margin. My prediction is that Ole Miss defeats Tulane by 9 points. I will go under the 61. It's also possible that in first quarter, not much will happen with the teams, with it all coming later in the game. I will still stick with my original prediction, though. All right, next game we're going to look at this week will be number 21, Michigan versus Nebraska. The pros in this game favor Michigan to defeat Nebraska by 1.5 or 2 points. Usually, if the margin is this low, it can mean an even matchup. The over-under is 44.5 or 45 points. Nebraska has not been known to be doing well in football, at least for the last 20 years. Prior to that, Nebraska was that team that could and did marvelous things. Nebraska, for once, looks very good on offense. Defense is not stellar, but above average. This style of play could be be good for them as far as it continues. Nebraska has the resemblance of the past when the play was good. It's too early to make that call right now, but there is a glimmer. Michigan has not really played anyone good, so it's hard to tell how it will be with Michigan. Historically, they have had above-average offense with the same for defense. I think Michigan is decent, and this game could go either way. The problem I see is their style of play in the 4th quarter. They get cocky and start sputtering, and it shows. I think that continues in this game. For these reasons, I am completely disagreeing with the pros on this game. My prediction, Nebraska will defeat Michigan by 3 points. I will go over the 45. Next game we're going to look at this week is number 24, Notre Dame versus Purdue. In this game, the pros favor Notre Dame to defeat Purdue by 26.5 or 27 points. The over-under is 53.5 or 54. Excuse me. Purdue is not known for being excellent in football. They do well against known weak opponents, but not so much with known tough teams. They can surprise you every now and then, but likely not to happen in this game. 17 is common denominator, but in an uncommon way. 17 is how many points they had in one loss. 17 is also the number of points another opponent had in a win that Notre Dame had. Purdue is flat on offense due to doing okay on short plays, but mediocre at best on long plays within offense. Defense is lacking cohesion, and that part of the struggle is frustrating. Penalties haven't helped them either. Notre Dame is somehow still ranked despite losing 2 in a row and haven't won yet this season. That in of itself is an oxymoron. The 2 losses are by 3 points or less and to ranked opponents. Offense and defense for Notre Dame is like a deflated tire having to drive 20 miles to get it fixed and driving slowly on donut tires for spares. I do think this game will be a win for Notre Dame due to the fact that expectations will rear its ugly head. Notre Dame is having some personnel changes in leadership, so that may help. Traditionally, Notre Dame has been average on offense and defense. It hasn't happened that way so far this year, but I believe their part of their history will make a comeback. I do agree with the pros on favoring Notre Dame to win this game, but I disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction: Notre Dame wins by 10 points over Purdue. I'll go over the 54. I also wish to say at this point Notre Dame is 0 for 2, 0 wins, 2 losses, and still ranked in the top 25. Possibly the most stupid thing I've heard in a while, but then again, I'm not a voter. I do not understand why a winless team is ranked. Any other year, this would not have happened. Let's see. This situation is rare. The last time something like this happened with the AP poll was in 1988. Apparently, poll voters value close losses against good teams over wins over lesser teams. Despite that, it still doesn't make sense, so let's just move on from it. Notre Dame should not be ranked. They have no wins, and yet they're still ranked in the top 25. Any other time this would have happened, they would have been out of the top 25. And again, that's just me ranting about that, but I'm not a voter, so that's my case, and I'm sticking with it. But moving on, the next game we're going to look at today, or this week, will be number 18, Georgia Tech versus Temple. Temple last week was downright terrible on both sides of the ball, on offense and defense. Defensively, they could not protect the red zone or anything for that matter. Offense did so terrible, if it were based on a report card, it would have been an F-. The only good they do have is a decent field goal kicker. Field goals can and win games, but only if offense works, which overall it did not. It looks like the defense wasn't there and in a deep level of la-la land. Before going further, the pros favored Georgia Tech to defeat Temple by 23.5 or 24 points. The over-under is 52.5 or 53. Georgia Tech surprised everyone by defeating Clemson last week. A win is a win, but this one was a struggle win, but a little better than it looks since they were behind at a point. Georgia Tech did a decent job defensively by doing everything they could to stop Clemson. Sometimes it was good, other times not so much. This game had the good, the bad, and the ugly all over in it. On paper, Georgia Tech looks better than Temple. For these reasons, I will agree with the pros having Georgia Tech to win the game, but I disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction is Georgia Tech defeats Temple by 14 points. I will go over the 53. Next game we're going to look at this week is number 23, Missouri versus South Carolina. In this game, the pros favor Missouri to defeat South Carolina by 12.5 or 13 points. The over-under in this game is 46.5 or 47. South Carolina was terrible on defense due to numerous reasons: lack of red zone protection, lack of communication, lack of stopping holes that opened up, lack of holding the line, lack of protecting the outside perimeter, and non-existent enthusiasm. Offense downright sucked because they had limited quarterback protection, no urgency in the pass or rush, and having to punt the ball a lot on fourth down. Penalties from both offense and defense did not help their cause either. Against Missouri, I see the same style of play for South Carolina. This will not bode well for them. Missouri, on the other hand, looked very good on offense due to patience and good execution of plays, either in rushing or passing. Defense had some minor hiccups early on, but overcame the problems and did well on all areas. Defense does not need to tweak the defense needs to tweak the red zone defense just a bit. Let's see. I do think despite the needed tweaks, Missouri wins big over South Carolina. For these reasons, I'm going to agree with the pros on this game. Missouri defeats South Carolina by 13 points. I will go over the 47. Next game we're going to look at today will be number 4, Miami in Florida versus the University of Florida. In this game, Miami in Florida is favored by the pros to defeat the University of Florida by 7.5 or 8 points. The over-under is 52.5 or 53. The University of Florida has offense that is below average due to inconsistencies and or communication issues. The passing game sucks, but the run game has it. Moments of excellence by overall still fall flat. Defense allows too many points to be scored and has a lot of trouble in the red zone. Protection, they also lack in issues jumping the gun and getting eaten up in unnecessary penalties. Let's see. Miami is pretty good with offense on all fronts, and defense is doing an exceptional job, doing everything it can to build that brick wall style of play. They do this very well. There isn't much more to say on Miami except they are better than expected. In terms of defense, I have noticed a pattern. In the games so far played, the points put up by losing team has a denominator with relation of numbers that are multiples of 3. Those 3 numbers being 24, 3, and 12. This year, Miami and Florida appears to be the better team over the University of Florida. For these reasons, I will agree with the pros on this one. Miami and Florida defeats the University of Florida by 8 points. I will go over the 53. All right. Next game we're going to look at this week will be number 9, Illinois versus number 19, Indiana. In this game, the pros favor Indiana to defeat Illinois by 4.5 or 5 points. The over-under is 52.5 or 53. Illinois has one solid win, and the other 2 are wins, but not what I would call notable. Illinois hasn't shown its true colors yet because their schedule to start hasn't really been all that tough. I normally would rate offense and defense on how I think they look previous, but I can't do that fairly with Illinois because they haven't truly been involved with tough opponent games. So what I have seen is cupcake play. Offense and defense for Illinois seems decent, but I'm not so sure it will bode well against Indiana. Indiana last week did stellar on offense and the same on defense. Indiana has had one tough team so far this year, and the others mediocre. I have seen Indiana do well in tough games. Offense will be okay, and defense might do better this week since they thrive on tough games. This game will show who is a contender and who is a pretender. Indiana defeats Illinois by 5 points. I will go over the 53. One other thing, Illinois has won games but not over power teams. And again, I'm not a voter, but their number 9 rating seems to be overrated. I don't think that ranking is where they should be. Number 14 to number 17, but certainly not number 9. If Illinois beats Indiana, then maybe they deserve to be there. Otherwise, I do not believe they are number 9 caliber. I don't think Illinois beats Indiana, but we shall see, and I'll stick by my original prediction. All right, the next game we're going to look at today, or this week, will be number 20, Vanderbilt versus Georgia State. In this game, the pros favor Vanderbilt to defeat Georgia State by 26.5 or 27 points. The over-under is 53.5 or 54. Georgia State last week had near average offense, especially in the short pass game. Run game and deep pass plays looked okay, but needs work to execute those type of plays better. Defense was slightly below average due to limited protection of the red zone, but good everywhere else on defense. Vanderbilt has above average offense in run game and an average passing game. Defense is slightly above average. I think Vanderbilt will play this game better. SEC conference average translates to above average in weaker conferences. I believe this trend to be the cause for Vanderbilt. For these reasons, I believe the pros favoring Vanderbilt to win, but I disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction is that Vanderbilt defeats Georgia State by 14 points, and I will go under the 54. All right, let's see. Next game we're going to look at this week is number 3, LSU versus Southeast Louisiana. Southeast Louisiana, within the Division I FCS division, is decent on offense and on defense. They look to be a good team within that level of play. Not much else to say is best of luck to them since they are playing powerhouse FBS team. LSU has great offense and defense. This game looks to be a blowout in favor of LSU. No information is available on this game for a margin of victory and the over-under. When this happens, I will make my own prediction for the final score. So the final score in this game will be LSU 51, Southeast Louisiana 3. Next game we will look at this week is number 8, Texas versus Sam Houston. In this game, the pros favor Texas to defeat Sam Houston by 41.5 or 42 points. The over-under is 51.5 or 52. Sam Houston football has terrible offense and defense on all sides of the ball. Even special teams look terrible. This game has epic fail written all over it for Sam Houston. Sam Houston needs major work on everything, but can show inspiration if they can find a way to get the ball down the field on the short pass or run plays. Do I see that happening? No. Texas has everything working well on offense and defense. Texas has had slightly tough schedule in beginning of their schedule. Sam Houston is easy to read, and Texas will take advantage of that. It will be nightmare for Sam Houston for these reasons. I do agree on Texas defeating Sam Houston, but I disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction is that Texas wins the game by 35 points over Sam Houston. I'm going over the 52. All right, the last game we will look at within the top 25 this week is number 25, USC versus Michigan State. In this game, the pros favored USC to defeat Michigan State by 15.5 or 16 points, and the over-under is 56.5 or 57. Well, hello, Danish. I'm glad that you joined me today. Santuan, thank you for joining me today. I do appreciate that. I'm sorry if you came through the chat, I didn't see you. I'm sorry if I didn't say anything, but welcome to this broadcast today. Thank you for joining me today. It is greatly appreciated. Let's see. Michigan State has not really played anyone noteworthy. Yes, they have won games, but not tough teams. Offense is slightly above average in how they handle the run and pass game. Michigan State is below average on defense, mainly due to not protecting the red zone very well. USC has been average to slightly above average on defense due to good red zone protection, forcing turnovers, and on quarterback sacks. Offense looks decent on all levels of offense, especially on the medium-range passing. Defense also is good when goal line plays occur to prevent scoring. For these reasons, I know there isn't much information talked about on this game, but I do believe USC is better than Michigan State. I agree with the pros on having USC to win, but I disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction, USC defeats Michigan State 9 points. I will go over the 57. Just a note, number 1, Ohio State, number 2, Penn State, number 5, Georgia, number 10, Texas A&M, and number 14, Alabama have bye weeks this week, which means no game scheduled for them. Now that we have looked deeper within the top 25 matchups, it's now time for the segment of this live stream called the Game of Intrigue. In this game of intrigue, neither team is ranked within the top 25. I will look to find things related to both schools, which can be sports-related or not. After going over the related things, I will do the same process like within the top 25. I will look at what the Vegas says the margin of victory is and the over-under is. If I agree or disagree with the pros, I will do the best I can to explain my reasoning. So this week, the game of intrigue is Bowling Green versus Louisville. Both teams in college football are not in the top 25. Both universities are located in Kentucky. Both teams have 2 wins so far in their college football season for 2025. Both schools are over 150 years old, even though they may have had other names throughout the process. Both have emphasis on careers within the medical field. Now, let's dig deeper for analysis as we do with the sports side of this game. In this game, the pros favor Louisville to defeat Bowling Green by 26.5 or 27 points. The over-under is 52.5 or 53. Bowling Green is in a weaker conference than Louisville. Bowling Green shows to have below-average offense due to not scoring a lot of points. This works well sometimes, and other times not so much. The offense seems to sputter at the end of the game. The passing is meh or average. Defense is similar situation. Louisville seems to have average offense and defense. This game could be average game on both sides. I do believe Louisville looks better than Bowling Green. Not much else to say on this game. Looking at stats, videos, and highlights, I agree with the pros in having Louisville win this game, but I disagree with the margin of victory. My prediction is Louisville wins the game by 10 points over Bowling Green. I will go over the 53. So there you have it with my picks, with the matchups for the top 25 along with the AP poll, the game of intrigue. So now let's go over a quick summary on this game. We will also mention who is playing in the top 25 matchups again, and for the game of intrigue, which we just followed up with this game. Anyway, after we get through going over the summary, I will then go over who is playing in college football this week outside of these games I've already talked about with no additional analysis. So, in summary, the Associated Press Top 25 poll this week. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Penn State. Number 3, LSU. Number 4, Miami and Florida. Number 5, Georgia. Number 6, Oregon. Number 7, Florida State. Number 8, Texas. Number 9, Illinois. Number 10, Texas A&M. Number 11, Oklahoma. Number 12, Iowa State. Number 13, Ole Miss. Number 14, Alabama. Number 15, Tennessee. Number 16, Utah. Number 17, Texas Tech. Number 18, Georgia Tech. Number 19, Indiana. Number 20, Vanderbilt. Number 21, Michigan. Number 22, Auburn. Number 23, Missouri. Number 24, Notre Dame. Number 25, USC. The top 25 matchups this week are number 17, Texas Tech versus number 16, Utah. Number 15, Tennessee versus UAB. Number 6, Oregon versus Oregon State. Number 7, Florida State versus Kent State. Number 11, Oklahoma versus number 22, Auburn. Number 13, Ole Miss versus Tulane. Number 21, Michigan versus Nebraska. Number 24, Notre Dame versus Purdue. Number 18, Georgia Tech versus Temple. Number 23, Missouri versus South Carolina. Number 4, Miami in Florida versus the University of Florida. Number 9, Illinois versus number 19, Indiana. Number 20, Vanderbilt versus Georgia State. Number 3, LSU versus Southeast Louisiana. Number 8, Texas versus Sam Houston. Number 25, USC versus Michigan State. Again, number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Penn State. Number 5, Georgia. Number 10, Texas A&M. And number 14, Alabama have a bye week this week, which means no games for them that are scheduled. And our game of intrigue this week was Bowling Green versus Louisville. Now, let's go over just real quick who else is playing in college football this week. On Thursday, September 18th, you have Rice versus Charlotte. On September 19th, you have Tulsa versus Oklahoma State, Iowa versus Rutgers. All the other games that I'll mention will take place on September 20th. You'll have Arkansas versus Memphis, Maryland versus Wisconsin, Syracuse versus Clemson, Wofford versus Virginia Tech, SMU versus TCU, Bowling Green versus Louisville, UNLV versus the University of Miami in Ohio, North Texas versus Army, South Carolina State versus South Florida, Wagner versus Central Michigan. Let's see, moving on to the next page. We have Kent State, and that one's already gone over. So North Carolina versus the UCF, Ball State versus UConn, James Madison versus Liberty, Louisiana versus Eastern Michigan, Troy versus Buffalo, Toledo versus Western Michigan, Gardner-Webb versus the University of Ohio, NC State versus Duke, Northern Illinois versus Mississippi State, Idaho versus San Jose State, West Virginia versus Kansas, Delaware versus Florida International, Arkansas State versus Kennesaw State, DeQuesne versus Akron, Murray State versus Jacksonville State, Marshall versus Middle Tennessee, UT Martin versus Missouri State, Nevada versus Western Kentucky, Boise State versus Air Force, Maine versus Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina versus South Alabama, Washington versus Washington State, Stanford versus Virginia, Arizona State versus Baylor. Let's see, BYU versus East Carolina, Southern Miss versus Louisiana Tech, McNeese versus Utah State. Let's see. Nichols versus Texas State, UL Monroe versus the University of Texas at El Paso, or UTEP, the University of Texas in San Antonio, or UTSA versus Colorado State, Wyoming versus Colorado, California versus San Jose State, and Hawaii versus Fresno State. For those games, just check your local listings in terms of when those games will be and everything else along those lines. So, any questions, comments regarding the top 25 college football picks this week? I do thank you very much for tuning in to this broadcast today on Sports Live Media. If you will, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the notification bell so you can be made aware of when I'm doing these live streams regarding college football picks, when I do sports action videos, when I have sports education videos, again, when I broadcast live, or when I have breaking news in the sports world. Also, if you wish to subscribe to the channel, it is greatly appreciated. If you will, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. But the way you can subscribe to my channel is you go to www.youtube.com, the slash symbol, the at symbol, SPORTSLOV, or you can go on the YouTube search tab and type in Sports Live Media. That's SPORTSLOV Media. 2 words in the search tab. You'll know it's me because I have Sports Live Media burned into a basketball as my avatar. I'm also on Twitter X, and my handle there is at BobAmin16. That's the at symbol, BOBAMIN 16. We will continue to do these live streams once a week relating to college football, and we will go through each week of the regular season. We will go through the conference championships. We will do playoff games, and we will do the bowl games. And these will continue weekly on Tuesdays. Not sure what time it will take place on Tuesday, but it will take place on Tuesdays throughout the regular season, unless there are something that causes me to do it either earlier or later, and I'll mention that at the time. We're also looking to do some other live streaming of actual live competition, different things. I'm not sure exactly how that will work yet, but we are going to be trying some new and different things, and I'll make announcements accordingly for when those come about. Thank you again for tuning into this broadcast today. Any questions, comments? If not, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Sports Live Media signing out.